United States government says it can now manipulate space-time. It may sound like a joke, but it isn't. A scientific advisor to the White House, Michael Kratsios, publicly stated that the United States is developing technologies capable of bending space-time and annihilating distances. There is something really strange happening in our world. Really strange. And no, I'm not just talking about wars or economic crises, but I'm talking about announcements and discoveries that seem to have been taken straight out of an episode of some science fiction series. These are things that challenge everything we think we know about space, about time, about perception, about control, about reality. They are manipulating space-time. And before you start thinking that I'm talking about a conspiracy, that all of this is just a huge conspiracy theory, let me tell you right now that there is more evidence that all of this is real than you might think. You know very well, I am Carol Capel, your favorite time traveler. Welcome everyone to another video that starts right now here on this channel. This channel, by the way, even has a younger sibling. And if you haven't subscribed to the Shorts channel yet, I strongly recommend that you do. Because there I post daily short videos about news in the world of mysteries, daily news. And that way you won't miss out on absolutely anything that's happening in our strange world. And actually, speaking of a strange world, I don't know if you know this, but there's a branch of this channel here, an exclusive branch just for members. And within this exclusive branch for members, I am uncovering all the hidden secrets of the Illuminati cards. Obviously, I can't talk about this subject openly here on the channel because there are some cards in there that are extremely dangerous. And that's exactly why I'm making this content available in videos here for the members. Members of that channel also participate in exclusive live streams. They have access and direct contact with me and can interact during the live streams that always happen exclusively for the members. If you're not a member of this channel yet, click down below on Become a Member and become a member. In other words, come and join this other branch of the sect. Alright, now that I've already given this message that the sect asked me to here in my earpiece, look, my earpiece is invisible, only smart people can see it. Now that I've passed on the sect's message, let's start talking about this topic. Because here, on this channel, I don't hide anything from you. You know all those things the elite hides from you? Not here. Here, I don't hide anything from you. So, let's go, because the United States government says it can now manipulate space-time. Okay, I know it sounds like a joke, but it's not, okay? Because during a conference in Texas, a scientific advisor to the White House, Michael Kratsios, publicly stated that the United States is developing technologies capable of bending space-time and annihilating distances. Those were the exact words he used. I'll repeat, bending space-time. The words came out in a context that had absolutely nothing to do with science fiction or wild theories. It was a serious conference about serious scientific advances. And as soon as he finished speaking, as soon as he said that, his body language changed completely. He seemed at that moment to have realized that he had just said something he probably shouldn't have. But then, my friends, it was already too late because on social media the debate exploded. So, could he have accidentally revealed a secret project? Did he read a line and not really understand what he read? Or is the government, little by little, testing the public's reaction to the revelation of technologies that go beyond our understanding? And then you might ask me, wow, Carol, but technology capable of bending space-time? Is there a scientific basis for that? And yes, there is a scientific basis for that. Einstein's own theory of relativity shows that time can vary with speed. So astronauts, for example, they age microseconds more slowly when they're in orbit. Besides that, the concept of the warp drive, which contracts space in front and expands it behind a ship, is already a real theoretical possibility. And there's more, okay? Because in 2021, the physicist Harold White, who is connected to National Aeronautics and Space Administration and funded by Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, obviously, claimed to have created a tiny real space-time warp bubble in a laboratory. It's a small achievement, a tiny bubble, but it opens gigantic doors. There are still some issues, aren't there? Because to create a space-time warp bubble big enough to fit a person inside, it would be necessary, for example, to use all the energy of our sun. So, with the current technology, with what we have now, I would say it's kind of an impossible feat. But what if this had already been done with the help of external beings? I mean, for example, with the help of an advanced civilization, for instance. Well, maybe this has already happened. We're just the ones who don't know. Well, as if things weren't already strange enough here in this video, there's another piece of news I need to tell you, which is just as strange. What happened is that a ghost radio station started broadcasting signals again. While we get distracted by these headlines, an old Russian military radio station has started making noise again. Literally, in this case. I'm talking about UVB 76 or UVB 76, which is also called the buzzer radio. It's been broadcasting, guys, since the 1970s on a frequency of 4.625 Hz, which is basically just a constant buzzing sound. Sometimes, and really only once in a while, this buzzing turns into coded messages, random words, names, and numbers. And for many decades, this transmission remained pretty much unchanged. So anyone who manages to tune into this frequency will notice that it's a constant buzzing that never changes. But something changed recently, because now, in 2025, the station broadcast 25 encrypted messages in a single day. Then, later on, in April, it broadcast 4 more mysterious transmissions, and no one, absolutely no one, knows what these transmissions mean. Russia itself has never revealed the purpose of this station, but some experts, like Professor David Staples, believe that UVB 76 serves as an emergency military communication system, which is capable of operating without satellites, using the ionosphere to cover the entire Russian territory. Others believe that it is an automatic nuclear retaliation switch, meaning a permanent signal that, if accessed, activates lethal responses in case of an attack. But why has the activity of this anomalous signal increased now? Could they be testing something? Could this be a command? Could this be, I don't know, some kind of technological ritual? Or could it be that we're witnessing the operation of a silent and continuous weapon at the heart of the global radio waves? And last but not least, as if this video wasn't strange enough already, scientists have created a new color that doesn't exist in the real world. Yes, that happened. What do you mean, a color that doesn't exist, right? Because if it doesn't exist, how are we supposed to know? How can we see something that doesn't exist? I know it sounds crazy, but a group of scientists from the University of California in Berkeley have just announced the discovery of a new color that is invisible to our natural world. The provisional name of the color is HULO, HULO. And I don't know exactly how this is possible, but what happened is that they directly stimulated the M cones of the human retina, in other words, our retinal cone. And these cells, they are very sensitive to bluish-green light. And they did this stimulation with several laser pulses. And the result was the perception of an ultra-saturated greenish blue that can't be reproduced on any screen. And it has never been seen anywhere in human nature. So according to the volunteers who participated in this research, I'm calling them volunteers, but you can call them test subjects if you want, okay? They saw a completely new shade, a vivid, indescribable, and hypnotic color. A color that doesn't exist? In other words, these people are now seeing colors that don't exist? Oh, it's even making me itch. Well, of course, right. With these claims, the skeptics reacted. And researchers like John Barber from St. George's in London stated, for example, that this story is nothing more than an illusion caused by artificial stimulation, that the brain just exaggerated a shade it already knew. But other authors of the study insist that this new stimulus generated an experience, a perception never before seen by the subjects. And furthermore, there are other potential hidden colors that can only be accessed through brain stimulation or extreme optical stimuli. And this raised a question that I would say is much more devastating than simply thinking that they're doing all this just so humans can see new things or new colors. The truth is, my people, if we stop to look at all of this, we'll realize that there are many other realities. These are realities that coexist with our own reality, that aren't perceptible to our eyes because our eyes have a limited vision. And not just our eyes, because all of our senses have a certain limitation in perception. So if we keep stimulating our senses this way, we'll start to perceive other realities that maybe the animals here on planet Earth are already able to perceive. I don't know, but those who have a dog or a cat have probably noticed that many times your dog or cat will stare at a certain spot where you look and there's absolutely nothing there. And they keep barking or meowing constantly as if there was someone there. But when you look, you say, wow, there's nothing there. Why is this animal barking? And you even get scared because these animals have sharper senses, more expanded than ours. So if we keep stimulating our human senses, there will come a time when we'll have a similar perception. And we'll end up being able to see and even interact with realities that exist. And we simply don't have the senses to perceive them. In any case, faced with these events that I presented to you here, like a government saying it can now manipulate space-time, a ghost station sending coded messages, and also a new color that breaks the limits of human perception, it really becomes very hard for us to keep thinking that everything is normal here on our planet, right? What we are witnessing is the loosening of the fabric of reality. They are small cracks in the boundaries of science, logic, and consciousness. And maybe none of this is isolated. Maybe these are signs, right? Signs that someone is trying to alter or even test the most extreme limits of our simulation. And maybe, just maybe, what comes next is much bigger than we can handle. But then, we'll just have to keep following this strange world. Oh, Carol, I don't have time to keep up. No problem, I do. Don't worry. The sec tells me everything here through my invisible earpiece, and as soon as I hear more strange news, and if I have more information, not just about these topics I talked about here, but about any and every subject in this strange world of ours, I'll bring it to you in more videos. For now, I'll say goodbye to you all. And reminding you not to miss exclusive members-only content about the Illuminati card game. And just click down here on the join button, come be a part of it, and you'll have access to all these benefits and many others as well. I'll conclude with this video. A big kiss to you all, and I'll see you in our next videos if the sect allows it. Bye.